Hey there, in today's video, I once again am really struggling to begin making art. And here's the deal. When you have made a lot of art over a short amount of time, like put a lot of energy into something, as I just have completed these 30 videos for the series that I did in April, I was just having a hard time getting started because there was a lot of structure around that. Like I had to get these things done and I had to do them in a sequence and all these things. But now I'm left thinking, oh my gosh, where do I begin? And I did in that series talk about ways to begin. And I think I've done a number of videos on how to begin. And yet here I am again, sitting in that same spot, which leads me to believe that this is just an ongoing process, right? Like we are always going to struggle with what is the next thing, what is going to come next, and how do I begin? And so what I decided to do today is okay, don't laugh. Well, you can laugh, but I took a color palette from some things that I had been doing just because I was like, I gotta lay some paint down and I wanna use up, I'm kind of, when I get to the end of my tubes of paint, a lot of times I'm just like, let's just use those up and it doesn't matter, and you know. So that's kind of what I did, and I like this certain color palette, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start there. I'm gonna start with a real specific color palette, and I'm just going to work in my art journals, and I work in almost every single one of my art journals, adding a little something with this white, black, kind of a turquoise, and another golden, it's called golden quinacridone nickel azo gold, which is no longer available. So I'm sorry about that. But it helps propel me into the next phase. And I'm telling you, when I was done, I was feeling invigorated and ready to kind of starting to think about what comes next. So sometimes you just need to grab a couple colors, and I would suggest that, and just dabble in each of your art journals and at the very end, I show you how I use up the rest of my paint, and I literally do this every single time. I take book paper and I make collage paper out of it. I just random marks and stripes and all different kinds of things using all the tools that I already have out and using that color palette. So a lot happened in a short amount of time. I'm just gonna fast forward. I'm not really talking you through it. I'm just showing you how I got started when I was in a place again where I was having a hard time getting started. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get started. Since I'm having a hard time getting started, getting back in kind of to my art routine, I decided today just to start with some really basic colors. I'm using a titanium white, a Mars black, this tube of bright aqua green, this Blick acrylic, and then the tail end of a bottle of the quinacridone nickel azo golden. Unfortunately, I didn't realize this, but they have stopped making it. So I'm kind of using up the last that I have. And then I have seen some YouTube videos on how to kind of create your own color, this exact color, which I think is really cool. It's like a transparent kind of orangey, it's just a beautiful color. So I'm really surprised they discontinued it. Anyway, the reason that I am using these colors is because a lot of times I get to the bottom of the tube and I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to squeeze them out. And because a lot of times they start getting thick. And this tube I've had sitting for a really long time, although I do like this color, it's a little too bright for me. But I'm going to show you what I've been doing is on some craft paper, I've just been smearing colors and using up the ends of tubes. And these 4 colors, it turned out really cool. So I was like, okay, this could maybe motivate me to get back in my art journal, I was working on craft paper because it didn't matter how it turned out. I'm just having a hard time getting started again in my art practice after doing a video a day for 30 days during the month of April. And so I want to get back into it, but then it's always how to begin and what to do. But let me grab that paper and I will show you what has inspired me to use this color palette. Okay, unfortunately, I would have to change the whole angle of my camera. So I'm just gonna kind of show you this big piece that I did. It literally is a craft grocery bag that I cut apart and left in a big sheet, and then I just painted on top of it. I actually did this with about 6 or 8 bags because for whatever reason, everything now I'm doing, everything feels precious. And so I was having a super hard time getting started. So I'm like, there is no risk. There's no risk with a craft grocery bag. So I just did a bunch of those. And then I really liked this color palette. It's very simple. There's not very much going on. And so I thought, I'm just going to work with these colors really loosely, really quickly, and just work in my art journals and maybe finish up some pages, maybe not, but just get started. So I'm going to take you along for that process. I'm not going to talk because, like I said, I'm having a hard time getting started. So the talking is going to be in my head, and I'm just going to bring you along for the process just to show you, and hopefully encourage you when you're feeling stuck. I always recommend a black and a white, or at least a dark and a light, and then sometimes 1 or 2 other colors, just the bare minimum, and then just see what comes and what flows out of that. So let's go on. Let's get started and see what happens.